Hello, my dear students, honorable guardians, viewers, you are most welcome to my online class. How are you all? I think you are staying at home safe and sound and passing a very good time. I also believe you are continuing your studies regularly and following the rules of health and hygiene to prevent the pandemic of COVID. Dear students, today I am going to conduct a new online class for the student of. Dear students, today I am going to conduct a class for the student of class 9 on English first paper based on Unit 1, Lesson 2. So get ready with your English book, pen and notebook and pay attention. Here this is Manik Chandra Mazumdar, Senior Teacher, Gajinat High School, Shinbag, Noakhali, before you. Dear students, at the beginning of the lesson, I am going to provide you a pre-reading idea about our topic. Look at the picture and work in pairs. Dear students, I tell you, this is our online class, so there is no opportunity to practice pair work. You have to practice it by yourself. Dear students, open your textbook, English for today, page 5. What do you see in the picture? This is familiar picture to you. Now we are celebrating Mujib, so this is very familiar to you. In the picture we see the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, standing on a truck around with many people. What do you identify in the picture? Dear students, in the picture we identify the father of nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, along with the leaders of Mujibnagar government. Do you find any connection between the picture and the title of the lesson, and how? Obviously we find a connection between the picture and the title of the lesson. The title of the lesson, The Tale of Homecoming. The picture shows us, from the history we know, after getting released from the prison of Pakistan, Bangabandhu returned home 10 January 1972 after the victory. আমরা যদি বাংলায় বলি, পাকিস্তানের জেল থেকে মুক্তি পাওয়ার পর বঙ্গবন্ধু প্রথমে লন্ডন, তারপর দিল্লি হয়ে বাংলাদেশে প্রত্যাবর্তন করেন। ইতিহাসে দিনটি বঙ্গবন্ধুর স্বদেশ প্রত্যাবর্তন দিবস নামে পরিচিত। দিনটি ছিল 10 জানুয়ারি 1972। Dear learners, in previous slide I gave you some pre-reading idea about our today's topic. Our today's lesson is, dear learners, our today's lesson is The Tale of Homecoming, Unit 1, Lesson 2. Learning outcomes. After we have studied this lesson, we will be able to read and understand text, narrate incident and event in a logical sequence, participate in conversation, discussion and debates, tell stories. Dear learners, before reading the passage, we will learn the meaning of some uncommon words so that you can understand the text easily. You know, the text is basically on scene passage, so it is essential to know the meaning of uncommon words. Captive, that means prisoner, koedi. Synonymous, that means similar, same, conterminous. Grand, very common word, supreme or royal. Immense, very common to you. Huge, large, massive, you can also say. Epic, Epic, heroic story. Obligation, that means duty. Genocide, somewhat uncommon to you, that means mass killing. Bengali meaning Ganahatta. Trial, that means bring under law. Capital punishment, that means sentence to death. Bengali meaning mrityudanda dewa. Gallows, somewhat uncommon to you, structure for hanging criminal, that means phansi kastha. Dear learners, now we will read the passage. I am reading the passage very slowly so that you can keep pace with me. You can follow your textbook, page 6, section B. Read the story of Bangabandhu's homecoming to answer the question that follow. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was arrested by Pakistani army immediately after his declaration of independence at the first hour of 26 March 1971. He was taken to Pakistan as a captive and imprisoned there in a small cell for capital punishment until 7th January 1972. Even a grave was dug in front of his cell, but Mujib was fearless. He knew nothing would stop the Bengalis to gain independence. In fact, his name and independence became synonymous. So the whole world was awaiting breathlessly to witness his homecoming. And he had a grand homecoming indeed, narrated by eminent columnist and writer Syed Badrul Hasan. In the evening of 7 January 1972, Bangabandhu left Chaklala Airport in Rawalpindi, from where he would fly to London. 9 months earlier, he was brought to Pakistan as a prisoner with little hope to return. And now he was free to go home. Pakistan, as soon as the PIA aircraft took off, was finally behind him. Early in the morning on 8 January 1972, Bangabandhu arrived at Heathrow Airport. You can see on the screen Heathrow Airport, London. News of Bangabandhu's arrival in London spread quickly. Journalists and the general public, British official and politician, and Bengalis resident in the city made their way to Hotel Culridge. News bulletin on the BBC and other media organizations made note of the Bangabandhu's arrival in their headlines. By early afternoon, the father of the nation had met the British Prime Minister Edward Heath and leader of the opposition Harold Wilson. Then he called Dhaka for the first time since his arrest by Pakistan army in March, spoke to his family. A long conversation then followed with Prime Minister Tajuddin Ahmed. The conversations with his family and with the Tajuddin were emotional affairs. But he now had a clear picture of all that had happened in his absence in Bangladesh. It gave him immense pleasure knowing that he had truly liberated his people. Bangabandhu's opening word at a crowded news conference that evening at Culridge was a touch poetic. He expressed the unbounded joy of freedom achieved by his people in an epic liberation struggle. Bangladesh, he told the crowd, was a reality and would fulfill its obligations as part of the international community. I made it clear that those who were involved in different types of crimes, including genocide, would be tried by his government. This is our whole passage. Dear learners, we have read out the whole passage. Now, for your better understanding, I would like to make a short summary of the passage. You know, Bangabandhu was arrested by Pakistani army on 25th March night 1971. He was imprisoned in Pakistan for 9 months. After the liberation of Bangladesh on 16 December 1971, due to international pressure, Pakistan government released him from jail. 8 January 1971, the news was declared on radio. 9 January 1971, he went to London and met with a British Prime Minister and opposition leader. On the way to return, he stayed in Delhi, and there he was welcomed by Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and then President B.B. Giri, and he returned to Bangladesh on 10 January 1971. This date is known as Bangabandhu's homecoming. Dear learners, now follow your textbook, section C, work in pairs. Write on the blank spaces how you would express these words or phrases in your own language and then make sentences with them. You can see there are some words or phrases. At first you have to make their meaning and then make a meaningful sentence using the phrase or words. The words are Declaration of Independence, capital punishment, to await breathlessly, to make their way satisfaction, emotional affairs, immense, touch poetic, unbounded joy, genocide. Here you can see 3 columns. At first we use the words in word column, then we will write meaning column, and later we will make sentence. First you can see Declaration of Independence. That means try to make the meaning, yes, announcement of liberty. Now make sentence. At that time the Declaration of Independence was essential for the country. Capital punishment. Now make the meaning death punishment, যেটাকে আমরা বাংলায় সর্বোচ্চ শাস্তি বলি. বঙ্গবন্ধু শেখ মুজিবুর রহমান was imprisoned in a small cell in Pakistan for capital punishment. He waited breathlessly. Try to make it meaning waiting with more interest. Now make the sentence. After the independence, the whole world was awaiting breathlessly to witness Bangabandhu's homecoming. Now word to make their way. That means try to make the meaning move forward for going ahead. Now make the sentence. He made his way to become successful in life. Emotional affairs. That means heart-touching issues. Now make the meaning. In the early afternoon on 8 January 1972, Bangabandhu called Dhaka and talked with his family and Tajuddin. The conversation with them were emotional affairs. Immense. That means huge, large, gigantic. The liberation of Bangladesh gave Bangabandhu an immense pleasure. Touch poetic. That means sensitive feelings. Bangabandhu's opening words at crowded news conference at Coleridge was a touch poetic. Unbounded joy. That means great pleasure. Now make sentence. The freedom of Bangladesh gave Bangabandhu an unbounded joy. Genocide. That means mass killing. Genocide is an international crime. And dear students, now follow your textbook section D. Here you can see some comprehensive question. You have to answer the question with your own words. You can take help from the text. What made Bangabandhu so bold while in prison? This is question 1. Try to write the answer in your notebook. You can take help from para 1. I am not providing you answer, but I am giving you guideline. Bangabandhu knew nothing would stop Bengalis to achieve freedom. This belief made him so bold while in prison. Question 2. How did time change in Bangabandhu's life within 9 months in Pakistan prison? This is question number 2. You can take help from para 1. Bangabandhu was taken to Pakistan as a prisoner with little hope to return, but now he was free to go home. Thus, times brought change in his life within the 9 months in a Pakistan prison. Question 3. How did London welcome Bangabandhu? You can take help from para 3. Try to make the answer. Bangabandhu was welcomed in London grandly. The news of Bangabandhu's arrival in London spread quickly to journalists, the general people, the politician, the British high official, and Bengali residents in the city made their way to Hotel Cowries, News Bulletin, BBC, and other media organizations made note on Bangabandhu's arrival in their headlines. Do you agree with the statement that Bangabandhu was excited as well as relieved from long anxiety in London? Why or why not? Dear learners, I tell you, such type of question you can express your positive or negative opinion. But in this text, you can express your positive opinion as you read the whole passage and develop a comprehensive idea about Bangabandhu's homecoming. You can write, yes, I agree because he was the leader of independence of Bangladesh and loved his country as well as his people even than his life, and his strong belief and courage made Bengalis free from Pakistani rule, and we got our independence for the sake of Bangabandhu's leadership. Dear learners, now there is a short evaluation for you. The best answer from the alternatives. Question A. Bangabandhu was arrested by Pakistani army. Option 1. At the first hour of 25th March 1971. Option 2. At the midnight of 25th March 1971. At the first hour of 26th March 1971. At the midnight of 26th March 1971. Thank you learners. Option 3. At the first hour of 26 March 1971. Question B. Bangabandhu was taken to Pakistan. Option 1. As a state guest. Option 2. As a political leader. Option 3. As a political advisor. Option 4. As a prisoner. Yes, as a prisoner. Question 3. What was Bangabandhu's realization about Bengalis? Option 1. The Bengalis are fearful. Option 2. The Bengalis are fearless. Option 3. The Bengalis would be able to gain independence. Option 4. The Bengalis are very strong. Yes, thank you learners. Option 3. The Bengalis would be able to gain independence. Question D. Bangabandhu was in prison as a prisoner. Option 1. Till 9 January 1972. Option 2. Till 8 January 1972. Option 3. Till 16 December 1971. Option 4. Till 7 January 1972. Yes, thank you learners. Till 7 January 1972. Option 4. Question E. Mujib arrived in London. Option 1. In the evening of 7 January 1972. Option 2. by early afternoon on 8 January 1972. Option 3, early in the morning on 8 January 1972. Option 4, at the first hour of 9 January 1972. Thank you, learners. Option 3, early in the morning on 8 January 1972. Homework. Now I am giving you a homework. Write a short story about Bangabandhu's homecoming incident. You can take a photograph or a screenshot, or you can write it. Thank you all. Goodbye.